Hello comrades and welcome to Prague Summarized. This time we're gonna discuss everything that happened between years 16 and 20. Basically 5 years. Let's see, starting off with year 16. Well, we did have some problems with the filling of the warehouses. Now that we have a distribution offices with wagons around here, the big problem that we were having is that we were importing steel at very high costs. Let's check last year really fast. Over here, basically steel started to be the most imported good, and at the same time we were having problems because all of the vehicles that we were producing over here at the vehicle production line, they were not exported. Basically, this train was not available in year 15. We did create a line specially for this train, so it comes over here, picks up the vehicles and then delivers them directly to the customs house. Beforehand, we did have a vehicle line that was coming here picking up the vehicles, but this caused a problem because all of these vehicles here were piling up quite a lot and we weren't having enough space, and also overflowing into the space for vehicle containers. Theoretically, this should not be that much of a problem, but because of the income problems, we needed to start exporting all of the vehicles in bulk as soon as possible. So year 16 was spent into building this line over here, together with managing the imports of steel here by disabling it from time to time and re-enabling it whenever we needed more steel. That quite much stabilized, and afterwards we started working on constructing the commercial center for our tourists around here. Basically, this we're gonna go a bit for year 17 just to see how it looks like. At the end of year 17, we did manage to plan out everything related to the commercial district over here. Basically, we have amusement parks with carousels all over the place, with some museums and of the Republic, some gallery of arts, and we are building the Expo Hall, the Republic Theater, the National History Museum, etc. You name it, you have it over here. This targets to increase the attractiveness of our Republic for our tourists. As we can see here, the tourists aren't coming in that fast. This was because part of a problem with epidemics. Basically, in terms of tourism, currently our average score is fluctuating between 1.6, it seems like, and the lowest that we had was 0. 0 was due to the epidemic crisis that we were having. But this score will allow us to have quite a lot of tourists that will enter the Republic. Currently, only half of them are entering, so we might be needing a new hotel, and indeed a new hotel will be built over here in order to support the new incoming citizens. Apart from this, we did start building the infrastructure for sewage and water, which will go up until the commercial center over here. Now, the big problem that I'm having is that it's quite far away from Badgerville, and most buses might time out during the winter when it comes to getting citizens over there. It's a problem that we did not fix, and not even in year 20, but once we get the new city in year 20 planned, we might get citizens here from the new city instead and do something about Badgerville's location here. Yeah, that was kind of it on year 17. We did plan a construction office and start working on the railway production line, but it's not something that we're gonna use directly right now. Let's move on to year 18. Now, following in year 18, we did manage to build almost the entirety of this area. The only thing that we did not manage to build is the National History Museum. And this is because it does not allow any mechanism on the construction site, so it needs to be manually planned. I think this is a bug, maybe Peter will fix it later down the line, but for now it needs a shit ton of workers, and we're gonna need to get those workers from Badgerville. One more thing that happened in this year is the fact that we were running out of water over here. Basically, when planning out the tourist pipeline, we accidentally dropped the pressure from the big water pumping station here. Initially, it was doing only 2 entries, each with 3 bars, as it can be seen here, but we had this third connection going over here. Basically, this one limited the amount of water our citizens were getting to a very low amount, and they were unhappy because they didn't have water. So what we've done was to build another big water pumping station on this side and connect it to the water tower and then reroute the water. Yes, during the rerouting of the water, we lost somewhere around 1,000-ish citizens. Let's just check over here really fast. There we go. We went from almost 5,000 citizens, we tanked to 4,300. So around 700-ish citizens lost during the water crisis. Now, yes, I did get burned in the comments. There are multiple ways to solve this water problem. I went for the worst way possible. Basically here, this pipeline was connected. I simply destroyed this pipeline and rebuilt a new one over here. There's some tricks. Firstly, the water pumping station is the only one where if you got multiple connections, the pressure of the water will lower based on the multiple connections. Since we only got 2, 6 divided by 2 is 3. That's why we got 3 on each. If we would have been smart, we could have connected the water pipe directly here to increase the pressure 6, 6, because the input would have been 6, 6 also. That's one of the solutions. The second solution is in regards to the water switches. Water switches, no matter how many pipes you got connected to it, it will always output the pressure of the input. So for example, we got 530 as input pressure. 530 would have exited through all of these pipes. So theoretically, we could have built 2 water switches and connected to a single water pump. Yeah, it would have been possible, but hey, at least you guys see an extra thing. Also, now I'm noticing, seeing the underground storage, we still have this medium voltage wire connected over here, and I don't think I'll bother demolishing it. We did fix the power connection last time, so there's absolutely no problems. But there's yet another problem that we're gonna hit later, which I'll explain in year 20. For now, apart from focusing on building this area and on fixing the water problems, that's kind of all we've done in year 18. Let's jump a bit to year 19. In year 19, we did finally manage to build the National History Museum over here, and basically everything got built. But notice the workers, everyone has a plus sign. This is because we did build the small heat exchanger, and seconds later it got demolished by a fire. How did it manage to happen? Beats me, but sadly we did not have enough workers coming here in order to man the fire station. Also, we did lose a fire station over here. Apart from this, we did implement a pollution monitoring system, so the small heating plant over here, we can monitor it to make sure that it doesn't reach this area here. And apart from this, third hotel got built here. Basically, this is the sole reason we did not have workers there, because we had a huge conga line of vehicles just waiting here to deliver resources to the hotel, blocking this entire main road. Of course, buses stood in a conga line and they couldn't get to the station in time and it expired. Apart from this, we did unlock the new vehicles. Basically, finally the Maz 200 series arrived. I did have a very lengthy debate on trying to understand if I should buy the 200V series versus 200. And surprisingly, the whole family was Maz 200. It doesn't matter if it has a V. So after discovering this, I was pretty pissed and started buying all of the Maz vehicles. So we got unlocked all of the Maz necessary vehicles here, and we can start actually using them. Now, the replacement procedure was a bit tricky because we did start with cover tools firstly, and we're not even finished with the buses. We're gonna need to replace all of the buses before focusing on the cover tools, and also by replacing the buses means that we're going to have supply problems. The capacity of EA6s is 35. The capacity of the new vehicle is 61. So this Skoda not only delivers workers faster because it has a better maximum speed, but also it doubles the capacity. So we needed to go through all of our transportation lines and simply lower the amount of citizens we're picking up from the station in order to balance things out and not having citizens without any workplace like over here. And apart from this, that's kind of all for year 19. Basically, fully construction of the Natural History Museum, and that's kind of all. And full construction of the hotel. Let's move on to year 20 since it was more eventful. Now, when it comes to year 20, we did manage to build the rail line a bit more. Actually, not build it, but plan it. We did manage to understand how to do the crossover here with bridges without having absolutely any problems. Basically, this planning took less than 3 minutes to do. And it was important to take less than 3 minutes because if we go further and further and further, we're gonna see the same exact planning being done over here. So basically, in year 20, in the first part, we did manage to flatten this whole area here at 100 meters height and started planning the second city together with planning the industry that will go over here. Basically, the main industry we're gonna focus on is food. Reasoning being, well, reasoning I'll keep it for a few minutes later when we're gonna discuss profits and shenanigans. But the whole planning is almost a copy of what we have in Badgerville, and everyone started working around here, including the trains that seem to have a small little problem here, which we can discuss and fix later down the line. Most likely it's the semaphores, but that will be for year 21, I guess. Apart from this, finally, Parcul Dracul is working perfectly fine. We still have issues here and there. We needed a new restaurant in order to have enough tourists to come over and eat. And now let's discuss a bit about profits and shenanigans. Let's go to economy and trade. Go with 9046. Actually, I can do this. There we go, and start from January until today. Perfect. From tourist, we managed to make almost 1 million in profit. We did export 1 million in profit too, And from resources point of view, 1.7 million. The downside is that we imported a shit ton of things. And this is normal because these years we spent more on replacing vehicles here rather than doing other things. So for now, no exports of vehicles is done. As we can see, this train with wear and tear 10% is just sitting AFK here, hoping that new DKWs will be produced, but that won't happen anytime soon. And our only profits are coming directly from the tourism plus the clothing factories that we have over here. So that's kind of all about year 20. Let's check a bit more on the tourism. So let's go back to 46. January, there we go. In terms of spending of tourists, we have almost all of the spending being done in hotels. This is because for hotels, we have supplied them with food, alcohol, and meat. But we do want the tourists to pick up the bus from here and go to our amusement center, which we called Parcul Dracul. And basically that would increase the shops and restaurants together with pub, cafe, bars. Basically the spending on hotels will be split between these two. Apart from this, we do have spending in playgrounds, cinemas, museums, etc. going around here, and I don't know. I'm gonna see later down the line if it's profitable or not, but for now how it looks like, Parcul Dracul doesn't seem that profitable from a tourist perspective. As I mentioned in year 16 or 17, I think, when it comes to tourism, the average score, I think we're gonna need to go to last year. There we go. We can see that it's still flatlining between 148 and 0.86 or even 0.48 if we're not going to have, if we're gonna have an epidemic. Now, I don't really know if Parcul Dracul will influence this tourist trip score, but we're gonna see. Who knows? That will be for future episodes. As for the resources, we mostly imported between 46 and today. It is steel. Now for steel, you're gonna need a shit ton of people to handle both coal processing, iron processing, gravel processing, because coal and iron does produce some gravel, and then man the steel factory. So if we want to eliminate some burden of imports, steel is not quite the best target that we have currently. Food, however, is simple and quite okay to be targeted, because this should eliminate 563,000 rubles per year, which should allow us to increase the ruble count quite a lot, even if we are not exporting vehicles at all over here. But that's something for year 21. Stay tuned for that. Well, until then, thank you for watching. Thanks for my channel supporters over here. And make sure to subscribe and click that bell icon if you did not yet, to stay tuned with further videos regarding this series. I do upload once every 2 days a new video. Well, that's the upload schedule that I've set, but videos, I do upload them in batches of 3 or 4 videos whenever I have time to play outside of the working hours in real life. Well, until next time, I'm the Honey Badger, and I'm out.